its altitude. There we go, it's flying up and it's blowing up. But, whoa, this one is flying. I am surprised. Is it flying to the space? Yeah, what's up guys, it's Kosh, and today we're doing beginner's guide for stellar settlers, so you will know the best layouts, proper construction queue, and how to launch the rocket into space. I've managed it once, not sure if it will work again though. So right now in the early access mode you don't have that many options. You just start a new game and here you can select a chapter. By default you'll get the red planet, which is really easy to go, not that many dangerous things happen there, but as you go to the tougher and tougher planets, those will give you more challenge. Let's go to the second one and see how it is. Then you can select the available settlers. Some of those will be locked. In order to unlock them you need to level up. Out of the basic ones, well, you don't have that many options. I advise you guys to take the ones that decrease the spending of resources. That will allow you to save up a lot. Basically, if you spend less, that means that you will earn more, so that will be 10% to your resource income. A chance to evade negative effects might be nice. And let's get this Isabella, decrease all material spending 5%, so that's like 4 resources times 5, 20% extra. So let's go with those guys. Later on you'll get more settlers and they might appear in your pool, so whatever, it's not that important. Alright, so when do you start? Oh, this area isn't that huge, that will be hard. On the Mars you will have a lot of space. Here we have limited amount of space, so let me tell you how everything works. It will be kind of the same. You get the missions that will give you extra rewards. You can check them here in the economy screen on the missions menu. So some settlers will give you missions and some story missions will be here. You can follow them or you can totally discard them. I advise you to balance it out, but mostly don't pay attention to them. Since we here there are researches and those will help you to get better. Honestly, you don't need any of those early on, maybe the hub tunnel blueprint, but otherwise you can be okay without them. So you get your headquarters and you can build pods around it. Depending on the building you will build, they will have different bonuses and drawbacks. You will need overall for your base, you will need 1 to 2 miner factories. Let's get them. And what's unique about this game, that you have to connect buildings together. So you will have to get those exits being connected with the entrance of other pods. And some buildings like this one can have things on top of that, so make sure that it's somewhere on the edge of your base, otherwise you will be really in trouble, especially in the maps like this. In the Mars it will be kinda better. So let's place it over here with the exit to that direction, and you can place them straight over here, but I advise placing them at a distance and connecting them with this corridor tunnel that will allow you to build stuff here later. Then some pods that have this icon, they will require a settler over there, and I recommend to put the worst ones in the miner factory unless they have the bonuses for the bots. So yeah, let's get this lady, because some of those guys will give you the bonuses that might be useful early on. After that you will create the bots. You can't automate that, so you have to manually do this. Each miner factory will have 4 of those. So you have bots that are actually miners, and howlers that will pick up the loot and bring it back to your base. As you can see, those guys are dropping it on the floor so they don't bring it back. In order to get it, you will need storage entrance, and this one can have stuff on top of that, but I advise to build it next to that building anyway. Bam, let's do it like that, and then we can get the second set of those on another side of the base. At first I was trying to make the path for those guys, but as you can see they go straight through the building, so they don't really care about pathing at all, so don't worry about that. So yeah, now you have your basic resource production and it's time to get real. You have a couple of buildings that will produce resources for you. Greenhouse. This building will produce the blue life support resource. The unique feature of this building that it can be placed only on the first, I think, 4 floors. So let's place it here and see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, you can't make more of those. Let's connect it with the 3-way tunneler right now, so in case if we would like to build something else, we will have an exit over here. Now you will need to connect your buildings like vertically. The tutorial will tell you how to do that. You use vertical tunneler, and those guys can be really annoying and buggy, so be careful about that. There we go. So that's the base of your basic tower. Then after that you feed silicon factories on top of that. Make sure that the exits, they are marked like the exits align with the exits at the bottom. That way you can scale them easier and connect them easier later on with those vertical building things. This is the layout that I prefer for the most buildings. The main issue that other two resources cannot be built like that. Solar panels can be put only on top of the buildings, while Terra Miner pod can be built only on the ground. And also there is a height difference, so each height have two levels, just like this building. This is one height and it have two entrances, and if you will use something like this upward tunneler and downward tunneler, that will connect to another level already. So buildings on this height have problems being connected, so keep it in mind how you are going to manage that. We'll talk about that a bit later. Right now, let's build some Terra mining pods in order to get some red things going as well, and connect them with the long tunnels from the main building. That will allow us to get some red production going. Next thing we need is energy, and with the energy you get some problems here because those solar panels, they don't stack, they have to be on the top of the building, and you can't build anything on top of that building. Early on, you can just place them on top of the building that you don't really want to use anymore at this point. So let's say our HQ and that storage area, and we can destroy them later. So for now, it's a temporary measure that will allow us to get some energy inflow. Another thing that you might do, you can advise your bots to harvest the resources that you lack. For example, conductive material will never be an issue for you because you can make those silicon factory towers, and they will produce a lot of that. So let your bots harvest other resources that you lack and the ones that you will have hardest time of getting. And that's usually energy material early on. In that case, several bots will come to the same area and mine it more aggressively, so you will get more of that. Keep in mind that after some time you will get a negative event that you will have to counter. The timer is here. Most of those are easily countered by spending 10 resources, but some of those might hurt you quite a lot, so keep your eye out for those things. So okay, we got 4 mining areas here, we got some solar panels, not that many, and we need to connect those things up, and we will move on afterwards to do... Oh my god, this thing can be annoying. Yeah, there we go. So that will give us some basic production. You can always go to your economy tab over here and check out your income for every resource. Try to balance it out so it will be, well, balanced out. So you can scale production as much as you want. I really advise early on to focus on it quite a lot because you will need that. And you will also need research. The problem with the research, that those buildings, well, they have to be placed somewhere. So we can use HQ, for example, for that. So let's destroy the solar panel and we'll place our solar panels on top of those buildings. So a couple of greenhouses and a solar panel. That's how I set up the miners early on. Basically, it allows you to have all the resource production here. You get some blue from greenhouse, you get some electricity power from the solar panels, and you get the miner. You can also add silicon factories between the solar panels and greenhouses if you want to, but later on you will move on to this setup anyway, so don't worry about that. So yeah, let's get some research stations here, and honestly guys, I would advise you, so you won't mess it up, to have several of the same type buildings in the same place. So basically it will be towers of the same resource. The normal towers that produce the blue and yellow, the mixed towers, maybe like this will be a research tower for us, and if you mix things in, that will make it problematic for you later on to adjust that and do that kind of stuff. Once again, when you're selecting what to use, I advise to use the conductive material because it's the easiest one to get, because you can scale those silicon factories like there is no tomorrow, and yeah, you will get pretty crazy amount of those yellow things later on. There we go, look at that tower, it's already huge. We are already getting like 47.5 of those, which is way more than everything else, and we will get research from that as well. Each negative effect can be evaded, so sometimes you will get lucky and you won't get the debuff, which, well, is nice, but later on you'll be able to counter that if the countering buildings will work, because they don't work for me. Also keep in mind that those handles they don't really work well together. So if you would like to connect the buildings on this side, it will not work. They can't be placed on top of each other and it will just bug out, so you won't be able to do that. Plan ahead before placing stuff so you won't have to waste your time and dismantle that. Moreover, if you will be building somewhere at the edge of the map, you might have issue with that and lack the required space, and you won't be able to build off the edge, so keep it in mind. Now, while we are getting some resources, we can wander around the map and we have some special things. We get the ancient temple here, and when you visit those special places, you get option to either get the science or get the resources. I usually advise you to get the science because that will allow you to unlock some research things earlier, and they always have option to get the science. But if you lack some specific resource, that might actually give you a chance to get an edge over the game early on. There are always 3 of those on the map, so look closely for them. When you get them, you're good. So now let's get a couple more of those research stations. And keep in mind, if you place the building wrong and you want to change the orientation of it, you want to rotate it, you can actually select the building and rotate it using this button or your hotkeys. So yeah, they all rotate even after being placed, so you can adjust their setup if you want to. And in those situations, sometimes you want to place other type of building between them, especially early on. Let's place, I don't know, quarters. It doesn't matter what we place, because here you might want to place the characters that will allow you to boost top and the bottom production pods, and this will allow us to get a faster research, which would be really nice. So now let's move on to the research. What do you want to get first? First of all, the most important is hub tunnel blueprint. This will allow you to get way complex mechanics, way more complex blueprints, and overall make it easier for you. If you don't get the situation when you will need some specific buildings to do the repairs or heal your players or do something like that, I advise to start with the observatory. That will allow you to gain way more science than your research labs. And then the next building should be nuclear reactor, because you have issues with energy. After that, the core drill blueprint for this gate, and then hydroponics bay. After that, you can get the enrichment pod blueprint for that yellow conductive material gain, but you don't really need it. Honestly, this setup works perfectly and it's giving you pretty much the same results, so it doesn't give you that many benefits. On the other hand, the laboratory that we have will allow us to get way more resources, but it have to be pretty high. So let's build some of the research station back, and on top of that, in order to make the building high, we can place some different buildings. I usually place the quarters because that will allow you to get new characters faster, and it's pretty cheap, so you can place it as many times as you want and connect it afterwards. When it's connected, it will increase your inhabitancy. When it fills up, you will get the new character. So there we go. Now we get +3 habitancy per minute, which is pretty good. It should be higher. I don't know why it shows 3. So yeah, we got a negative event right now where we kinda get our buildings being damaged, and if the building in the chain is being damaged, all other chain will stop working. So make sure to repair them, especially after the event, so you will not lose your production bonuses. And there we go, we got the new settler arrived. I don't know, both of those are good. This will increase the time of resource generation, that will decrease material spending. Let's get the pod resource generation time, so we will get faster ticks. That will help us to get the science as well. All right, we are there. There we go. So let's build the observatory, I'm sorry, at the top. And this is the building that will produce 1 science every 2 minutes, in comparison with 1 science every 4 minutes with the resource spent on the research station. So this building is way better. So let's reassign Isabella to move her here. That will be double the production, so it's 1 science every minute now. So in no time you will get a lot of science. That's the issues I'm talking about. It was all good until this moment, so now we can't... Oh, there we go. We could rotate it manually. Good. Yeah, sometimes it's really problematic to connect those things. But yeah, there we go. We got this fantastic huge tower of silicon here that will give us pretty decent input. Yeah, that's 87.5 per minute. At this point, you can start doing the research, because you should have some research points available right now. So core drill and reactor should be your first options. Those buildings are not a... Hello, flood. Now that's interesting. In the water area now, I have additional tip for you. You would like to build your buildings a bit higher than on the first floor because, yeah, because here the buildings that are on the legs or something on the platforms, they don't have those issues that we have over here with the buildings malfunctioning. So yeah, in any case, the new buildings to be unlocked, they use up other resources to produce the new resources. So every 5 seconds, they consume one resource of other type to produce 2 resources of their type. And you should start with the nuclear reactor pod because it will allow you to get the electricity, the energy material, and then it will be consumed by those core drills in order to provide you with more of the red things building materials. Although if you are flooded, probably that won't help you out that much because this one nuclear reactor should be placed on the ground, which is, well, pretty much impossible when you are flooded. Honestly, the only buildings that can produce electricity, energy, not on the ground floor are those solar panels. So oh my god, everything is so damaged. So yeah, you have to live with that, and when this will disappear? Yeah, on the higher tier maps, probably you would like to have higher amount of people who will try to evade the negative effects, because those are really bad and annoying. So anyway, the next research will be hydroponics bay, blueprint, and basically you are done with those right now. You can get this enrichment pod blueprint. I never used it myself. It doesn't seem to be useful because you can build this and it will work just nicely. While we are waiting, there is another type of building I want to talk about, storage pod. This building is, well, oh, nice, flood is over, is essential. Honestly, this is one of the most important buildings late game, and you will need a lot of those. So if you will build some of them early on, that will only help you because you will be able to stockpile more resources. Let's connect them. There we go. And also, if it helps to complete your mission, do that, because that will allow you to get some extra free resources. So yeah, the advanced core drills, when you build those, they are higher than your normal drills, so you can't really connect them directly to those. So you have to find a way to connect them to other buildings, probably. In our situation, we can place them here next to the storage because it's pretty tall, and we can connect directly to it. So that's an easy way out, to be honest. You don't have to micromanage all those connections and you will be good. So this thing will start consuming energy in order to gain red things. Now, you will need that energy, and nuclear reactor pad is the only thing that's available for your early game, and it have only one entrance, so you can't really build a lot of those, and they have to be placed, I don't know, somewhere far away. Like this would be the best area for them, I think. So let's connect it using the, there we go. And as we will prolong this tunnel, we will actually start adding those reactors on its sides. Later on, you'll get additional building instead of the reactor, but right now I think that will be your only option that you can use, because solar panels don't produce even close amount of energy that you need. So yeah, those things, when placed properly, there we go, they will allow you to get pretty good amount of energy. And since you can build those tier 2 drill pods and those reactors, that will allow you to supplement your overall production cycle. At this point, depending on what do you have in the resources, you should balance it out. So if you have low energy, you should focus on getting more reactors. If you have low building material, get more miners. If you need more life support, either build this or you can rely on hydroponics bay, because it can go taller than this, higher than 4th floor. The drawback that it will still consume other resources and it will take the red one. Basically, your goal is to have about the same amount of those tier 2 miners. So if you have 2 reactors, you should have 2 drills that will kind of supply them, and then you will have 2 hydroponics bay if you want to balance it out and don't go low on any of the resources. But honestly, my advice, don't stay too long on those. They are not that good, because you can go to the higher tier stuff straight away. There is no requirement. We already can unlock level 12 stuff, right? So what do we have here? We have pretty cool buildings. The most important one will be dark matter reactor blueprint, because it will allow us to get way more energy than our normal reactor. Let's unlock it. Then we'll have the xenobiology lab blueprint. This is second important, that will allow us to get way more life support. And then next one is nanomaterial assembler, that will allow us to get building material. And then you get a plasma conduit conduction facility blueprint, which is almost useless, so I really advise to take it the last one. So yeah, now you can build this high tier reactor, and in order to get it, you will need to get storage, so you will have enough resources. Maybe you would like to get more of those lower tier buildings before, in order to be able to harvest those resources prior to building some high tier stuff. It's up to you. You can either wait it out and get those new buildings, or farm resources by mass producing stuff and enjoy that. And as you can see, the cost comparison of this building and this building isn't even close. Basically, Terra Miner pod costs only 13 water, electricity, and coins, and it will give you one every 12 seconds, while the higher tier one costs about 10 times more and give you 2 every 5 seconds. So it's like 4 times more useful, but 10 times more expensive, if I calculated that correctly. So you might want to go for the lower tier stuff. Moreover, if you go for the lower tier stuff, you don't need to worry about cutting the supplies and supplying them properly. So that's a good early game tactics as well. That will allow you to produce pretty good, like really good amount of resources. So let's see, 65 per minute, 57 per minute. We don't have enough electricity right now because it's being consumed by what? By those things. And honestly, those low-level greenhouses that I recommended before, I still use them in most of my setups, so I can recommend you using them as well if you want to. Because that's a really cheap and efficient way to get the basic stuff for you. If you don't have enough storage, just add a bit more storage buildings and you're golden. And yeah, don't worry about that, you will need them later on anyway. So at this point, after waiting a little bit, you will be able to get the new generator for the dark matter. It have to be placed on the ground floor as well, so you can't hide it from the water. And the unique feature of those things that they take a lot of space. So I guess we'll place them here and connect them a bit differently. So let's make this thing, destroy that, connect those here. And for now, we will leave the basic reactors as well because they are needed. By the way, guys, when you destroy something, the resources will fall and they won't instantly return to your storage. You will need those howler bots to deliver them. And we have a lot of resources lying around. I think we need to build additional storage entrance. The problem is everything here is like second floor. So there we go, that will increase efficiency of our miners, that will be useful later on. And guys, some of the settlers have the lower morale when they lose it. Honestly, I haven't noticed any... Oh my god, we got the flood again. I haven't noticed anything happening. Oh, that's interesting. So the buildings still work during the flood. That's cool. If you are really annoyed by fixing those things while everything's going to hell, you can go to the research panel and get the proper research. The one that you need is repair station blueprint. It will allow you to repair those broken buildings from time to time. I actually had it before, but I found it pretty useless. Let's try again, since here you gotta do a lot of manual repairs and I'm not a big fan of that. This thing is expensive. And since we don't have enough conductive material for our needs, we need to get more of that. And once again, I will rely on this tower thing placement in order to get more. By the way, guys, there is a limit to the height of the buildings that you can construct. You probably know about that. And I would advise to remove the top building and build something that requires it to be on top of the building. In our case, it can be either observatory to get more science, or maybe some unique building that you might want to place there. We'll place observatory to get more science this time, because that will allow us to unlock more things faster. So yeah, those towers will pretty much give you pretty good amount of resources, and you won't need any other source of the golden things. So your next unlock of the production building of tier 3 should be either a nanomaterial assembler blueprint that will allow you to get the red resource or the blue resource, depending on which one do you need the most. In my situation it's both, so we'll get this one right now. There we go, I've put the repair station on top of this building and we will see how it will work. I'm not entirely sure that it will work because for me before that it was doing nothing. There we go, we can gain one nanomaterial assembler. Let me show you how it works. It's the same production building, but once again, in this level, I don't want to put it on the ground because that would most likely cause some issues. The thing is, if you want to place it between the buildings like that, it will not work because the placement is weird. You can place it on top of the middle thing. It can be totally unbalanced. It can fly in the air. It will still work. I prefer to make it look good though. So let's unlock the tall razors and put them over here and try to place the building on top of them. Bam. All right. At this point, this building will start working and it can be stacked as well. So that will be your red production building. Those are your power production areas. The yellow production buildings are those towers, and you get some of those as well if you want to. You can remove them afterwards, it doesn't matter at some point. And do we have it already? Yeah, let's get the blue production building too. Here we go, the blue production building. Let's connect it as well. There we go. And it can be stacked too. So all those buildings can be stacked, and now, from now on, what you will need to do, what's happening, earthquake, hope it won't break our expensive stuff. So from here, you will just start adding your highest tier buildings and building those towers from time to time and save enough resources because you will need to do the research to unlock the launch pad blueprint. Everything else here is like secondary. If you want to, you can get it. If not, up to you. I really don't use settlers because they seem to be too much of a trouble sending them in, out, controlling them. You just need a couple of buildings to make it work. Okay, we got the earthquake. Let's see what will break. We'll ask some of those. Not much for trouble. But yeah, in any case, I would advise you guys to add those basic greenhouses as well, because all those basic buildings, they will still give you more resources that will allow you to build those higher tier things faster. So yeah, we got a solar flare event and some structures are malfunctioning, but our repair station doesn't do anything to those malfunctioning buildings. Hope it will be fixed soon. Alright, so after some time your base will look something like this, like a big city with a lot of buildings. So at this point, you can either unlock all the buildings if you need them, but most importantly, you will need a launch pad blueprint. Have to be placed somewhere as far away from your main base as possible because your launch can fail. And here you will design the spaceship. Now, this is a very weird mechanics. The placement is, oh my god, is sophisticated. So even if you would like to place everything perfectly, it will look like crap. Look at that. Yeah, so the chances that your ship will fly isn't that high, but if your launch pad is away from your base, the chance that it will destroy your building will be lower, although it can do that. The core mechanics of ship building. First of all, per thruster you will need one fuel tank, so you can either connect it directly. Look at that, you can't place it in the middle of that. So yeah, either you want to place on top of that or a bit further away. Then you will need to follow those guidelines here. That's the minimum amount of stuff that you should have. But keep in mind that you can actually turn off everything and point on each part, and that will show you its weight, its requirement, and what will happen. So basically each thruster can carry 2 tons. It itself weighs 0.5 tons and fuel tank weight 1 tons. That's leaving us a really bad situation with like 0.5 ton per thruster with a fuel tank, which is really stupid if you ask me. Maybe I understood it wrong, but that's what the tooltip says. What you want to do, you want to get all the modules available here and some additional modules like thermal regulations to lower the chance of malfunction, explosion, and that kind of stuff. I think main structure is like the area that will hold things together. So before doing that, you might want to put extra things. Gyroscope should allow you to balance the spaceship. You can't control it. It's not Kerbal Space Program. You just build stuff here and hope that it will not fail miserably. Then you will need 4 life support modules, so you can place them all on one area in like that, with 5 of those. Why god, that's insane. And you can also add additional fuel tanks here, I think. So yeah, this is what you need to launch the ship, but as far as I understand, you don't need it to finish the game after you launch the ship. So get your 5 life support modules here, and on top of that, let's get some habitats. Bam, 3. We need only 3, we don't need more than that. Oh, we actually need only 4 life support. Cancel operation. Let's get fuel tank instead. That's really safe. Life support surrounded by fuel tanks. All right, now habitats. Now we want to have some extra fuel tanks. It's a good idea to start with the middle area. That will allow you to center those things a bit better. Still not perfect, but a bit better. Let's get double fuel cells. I don't know, the rocket is really high already. And you can see that each time you place the module, the price will increase. That's the amount of the resources you need to have in your inventory, in your storage, in order to actually launch it. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you about the event, sickness. When your settler will get sick, nothing will happen. It won't be able to work, I guess, or its morale will be low. So I didn't really figure out the settlers. I don't need them. They don't really work how I want them to. So on top of that, let's slap a couple of safety modules, some thermal regulators. All right, that lowers our chance of failing miserably. And I don't know, let's get another main structure with additional fuel tanks. There we go. And slap the nose cone on top. So now this can fly, but we have so many fuel cells. Why? Because we need more thrusters, and we need more thrusters. So first of all, the main thing you want to do is to go to this area at the top and like place them on every side of these things. So there should be a lot of those. Make sure that they are properly balanced. Oh, we can't build it here. That's annoying. That they're properly balanced and mirrored. That way your ship will fly kind of more straight. There we go. That's pretty much a necessity. You can see that our limit of materials is 6.3k, so let's try to use that. In order to get that, we have 1, 2, 3 storage towers, basically. It's not that much, it's easy to do. You can increase it even more and get even more complicated designs, but none of those actually managed to launch properly for me. So yeah, basically this part at the top should fly away in space if everything will go wrong. But in any case, we should add additional thrusters as we go on the ship, because that will allow it to start. Otherwise it might not go because it's extremely heavy. The rule of thumb here is to balance them out, and sadly you can't experiment with the rocket, so I'm not sure if that will work or not, because the only rocket that worked for me was the last one, and it was randomly flying away. Luckily, I finished the game. So yeah, so I'm not sure. We have 25 thrusters. That should be enough right now. 21 fuel tanks, a bit less than thrusters. It's okay. And the rest of the stuff seems to be good as well. Now let's wait till we get enough money and launch our ship, because otherwise it will be way too costly in terms of the energy material. Another module that you have here will give you science if you launch it completely. I tried that, it didn't work for me, but I mean, I have no idea how to make it right. By the way, share your tips down below in the comments if you know how to do that properly, because it's weird. So now we have enough resources, let's give it a go and cross our fingers and hope that it will work. So you launch the rocket, then it will start, and it might actually screw up at the start, but it should get its altitude. There we go, it's flying up and it's blowing up. But whoa, this one is flying. I am surprised. Is it flying to the space? Yeah. There we go, we won. Last one exploded, and the top we did with a lot of thrusters actually decoupled from the rest of it, and it flew by itself far away. I hope the editor will find the footage and edit here, And yeah, that's how I won last time. This time, almost the whole rocket managed to fly away. And yeah, in the end, you will get some XP that will give you new level and unlock new stuff for you. So yeah, that's Stellar Settlers guide for you. I hope you've enjoyed it. I did my best to do that. The whole run took me about 2 hours because it was taking forever to harvest those resources, but the more resources you have, the better ship you can make, the higher your chance of survival. In any case, share your tips in the comments and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video. I would appreciate all that. Other than that, thank you very much for watching. It's been Kosh. Have a good one. Bye.